Hey everybody, it's me, John Anthony Chihak Soltero. I am the anti-hero, and I'm here on my brand new laptop that I got last week, so excuse the bounciness while I start to get a little bit used to how this is going to film. It looks a lot better to me than how my phone is looking. Plus, I'm doing it straight on the computer, so it's going to be a little bit easier to edit, hopefully. But I am back with another review reaction of a McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse figure. This time it is Batgirl. As always, the McFarlane Toys figures come with the trading card. This one says the artwork or the source of the artwork was from Batgirl number 27 from 2018, which is Rebirth. However, the artwork really looks like it's from White Knight by Sean Murphy. I can't say specifically because I haven't read the series and I don't remember what the cover images look like. However, that's what it's looking like at this point. This Batgirl figure is extremely well detailed. One of the things that I noticed, not just how the cape flows, it flows really, really well. And has a lot of detail in it, so you get kind of like an action shot. Even if you have her standing still, it looks like the cape is blowing in the wind, which is really, really cool. One of the very, very tiny details that probably not a lot of people will notice, or if they do notice, they're not going to appreciate it. And this is kind of a weird thing to notice, in the creases, in the ball joints of her hips, there is a little bit of molding and etching for how the fabric of your pants would move, especially if they're going to be tight fitting like this. It's not going to be completely smooth. And I really appreciate that attention to detail on this. She's got a great face. She's got the more classic, she's not wearing the cowl. She's got the domino mask that also has the ears, the bat ears coming up over. It's going to be a little bit harder to see this just because this is how I'm trying to get this over. But you can see the ears popping up, and you can also kind of see the mask. And I do apologize, but I'm still working out the different things with the new computer. It's going great, by the way. Just last night I finished technically it's the 32nd page of script pencils. There are 4 pages that I added in the story into that 32 pages, and then there are also 4 more pages. Yeah, so I'm at 36 pages right now of story. And how that's gonna work is I'm adding 4 more pages of story to the book. And the whole purpose is, even if I cut it right now and then just put those last 2 pages in, it would still work. But especially with the recent news, I cannot leave the story like this. I have to have it set up for future, for the next story, and I have to have it play out a specific way. So the next 4 pages, even though they won't be scripted per se, I've got full idea in my head of how it's going to play out, and it's very fitting. Everything that has happened with the Bubba Patrol story-wise has been 100% completely organic. I haven't tried to force anything into the story that didn't feel like it fit, that didn't just kind of groove in there like clockwork. I'm very, very happy with how this story is progressing. I've gotten 2 confirmations so far for pinups in the book. 2 local artists here in Tucson. One is Derek Dahlberg, and he's got a really cool webcomic on Webtoons right now called Gas Mask Garth. like just the two G's always throws me off. So Gas Mask Garth on Webtoons. It's pretty fun. It's like a fantasy, like a sprawling fantasy epic. I got to get back in and start reading more. I got several chapters in, and it's a lot of fun. The artwork is really it's different, but it's really great. Like I like his style so much. He did some really fantastic stickers for the Tucson Comic Con. You might remember the cactus with the rubber arm, the hose arms coming out of it. That was his. He's going to do one of the pinups, and I'm really excited for that. He's also somebody who has a dog, and that dog means a lot to him. It's not just a dog or a pet, it's family. The other person who is confirmed to do pinup is Vic Hollins. And interestingly enough, Vic went to the same college I went to several years later, like 10 years later. She's an amazing painter. She did a 4-issue miniseries, or a 4-issue series, I should say, called Wilder. Beautifully painted. It's just like very bright, very vibrant, very bold. The color palettes she chooses work extremely well together. I mean, she's a fine artist, but she's also a commercial artist, so she's got an eye for both things, both sides of it, which is not really all that typical. I have found, like, some people have way more of a knack for fine arts, and then there's other people who have the graphic design aspect of things, and they don't necessarily mesh together very well. She does a phenomenal job with it. She's done murals all over Tucson, including at one of my friend's colleges, and she did a triptych. The mural they wanted was huge, and she did it on these like 3 or 4 gigantic panels. Did it in 20 days. And I've seen it on, like, pictures of it online, and it's downtown Tucson, and I need to go by just to look at it, because the pictures, I can tell you, don't do it justice. I actually, let me show you right here. This was one of the pieces Vic did for an event at Charlie's, Kitty Pryde and Lockheed. And I was extremely fortunate to be the one who got the winning bid on this. And now it hangs next to me while I work on the Bubba Patrol and do artwork and record these videos. So it's just really awesome that not only is she a phenomenal artist, but she's also just a really good person. Like, she shares her techniques with people. She was hired by multiple art supply providers, like the people who do the paints, people who do the brushes. I don't want to say the name of one and then get it wrong because it's a brush like producer. She goes all over the country. She's gone out of the country to different countries to do demos and show people how to use the paints, how to use the brushes, and just like what these things are capable when you use them. They're tools. Everybody does things differently, and she's skilled enough at this point in her career, and she's still really early on in her career, that she could kind of be one of those people who's just like, whatever. But I talked to her at one of the events at Charlie's a few events ago, and I told her that I really would like her to do a piece for the Bubba Patrol for the 3rd issue. She said, I'm totally game. She is also, her dog Snorlax passed away. And I know that was, it's hard for her because, like me, like Derek, like a lot of you, it's not a dog, a family member. And so getting Derek and getting Vic to be the first 2 people to agree to do pinups in this book, and knowing how they feel about the animals in their lives, again, just an organic thing for the Bubba Patrol, and it means a lot to me. They're local artists, and they're great at what they do, and at the same time, they have the same feeling and passion for those creatures and their family that I do. So that being said, that was a big segue, but it has really made my this week a lot. I wouldn't say easier, but it has made this week a little bit more tolerable for me. Getting back to work and getting back into my workout routine and getting that final page of script done in terms of pencils. A friend of mine who's worked professionally in the comic book industry, Bill Simpson, has agreed to start doing some of the digital inks for me. I want to get this book done. I don't want to rush it, but at the same time, there is a sense of urgency to it because I do want it to be done. And I don't like saying it out loud, and I'm not going to say it out loud, but I want it to be done before that happens. And all these individuals, Bill as well, has had plenty of animals in his life, and they're family to him, you know. So again, it's just an organic transition of all these people who are wanting to help and willing to help. And it means a lot to me, not just as a creator, but that this is like a local community that wants to be a part of this. And that's something special for me. So with that being said, in the additional 4 pages that I got to do, in the tradition of the Tucson Toy Show, which is, this will be my 2nd year doing it, let's get back to this review reaction, which I massively segued away from. And I don't know if that's the bipolar or if that's just, you know, I'm just a freaking weirdo. Maybe it's both. But anyways, the detail on Batgirl is pretty phenomenal. The pouches on her utility belt are pretty well detailed. There's 3 pouches on each side. There's the it's a bat-shaped buckle on the front. However, it's more of a stylized bat-shaped buckle. And this is really, really well designed. The bat emblem on her chest, which actually shows like functionality. It's actually raised. It's not just emblazoned. It pops up. And so for me, I like to think of this as like she's wearing kind of like a very thin Kevlar armor. So she's bulletproof anyways, but it gives her ability to move. But then the plating over her chest for her to protect her lungs and her heart is probably even more durable. But, and it's kind of hard to see, there is a backpack that she's got on underneath. And there's detail to the backpack. There are seams and buckles and straps that are holding the backpack closed. As much flack as this line has gotten for a lot of the different things stylistically that they've chosen and genre-based that they've chosen, this is a great figure. Just detail-wise alone. The hair is molded and sculpted really, really well. You got this really, it's oversized, yeah, but it's a big gold batarang. I kind of wonder, you know, if it is gold, it's probably not going to fly very well and, you know, be really heavy and clunk somebody in the head really good. All right, let's see here. Get her to hold it. Okay, well, that's not super important right now. All right, then she's got her grapnel gun, which, like the Detective 1000 Batman, has the cable that is exploding out and not fully extended to show that it's actually in motion, which is kind of cool. It's a very simple design for the grapnel gun itself. However, because it's a gas-powered grapnel gun, it's not, you know, powder-based or projectile, you know, it's not shooting bullets, so it doesn't need to be super detailed. It just needs to function, right? Although everything Batman does is probably going to be super functional and have some sort of a stylistic integrity to it. So let's see if we can get her to hold this grapnel gun. She does have the little trigger fingers on both of her hands, so you can expect to have like a lot of play value with that. The only real problem I see with this, because you're probably like, you might shoot it straight up, but again, you're going to shoot it at an angle. So you're shooting straight forward. So that works. I was thinking if you're shooting it straight up, which only if you're going to ascend straight up, which I've seen a handful of times in the Batman the Animated Series and the movies and stuff like that, the head doesn't tilt up. But that's not really a problem because if you really think about it, they're not going to be shooting up a whole lot. I actually just noticed this. There is actually a bat head on the cuff of the glove. You get the three, not the fins, but they're the guards. And then you get guards on the back of the boots as well, on the heel of the boot, which tactically would make some sense. And the toes pivot, and then it's got the really cool, more tactical boot nubbing on the outside of the sole. When I was younger, like late teens, early 20s, and I started getting really into comic books and really into heroes and stuff, Punisher was my guy at that time. But like I also started liking Wolverine and Spider-Man, and then really got into Nightwing as well, especially once it was probably like 96, 97, once he had his own first ongoing series. And while I used to clunk around in like steel-toe boots a lot, I started looking at the shoe or the boots that like Spider-Man wore and even Batman wore. And as much as they were boots, because, you know, they went up to the calf or the knee or whatever, the soles were generally flat. The soles were not really like boot soles. They were more along the lines of sneakers, where they had a specific type of traction. It was also a very thin sole, because if you're running around on rooftops, you're going to need, you know, that pliability. Most, like, unless it's a really high quality work boot, and of course the superhero is going to have that, it's not going to be a super flexible sole that you're working with. But so I equated that with the footwear that I was currently wearing, and I decided that I wanted to switch back to, I think that's when I started wearing like All Stars, Chuck Taylors, and then later got into like Vans and, you know, skating and stuff like that. But then I found Adidas Metrums, which were the shell toe classics, but they were a skate shoe style. So they were puffier, the soles were more padded, they had more cushioning on them specifically for skating. One of the downsides to those shoes were that the shell toe on it was actually like molded and glued onto the front. So it was almost like a steel toe on the exterior, but it was rubber. And a lot of them would start to peel away after a while, which really bothered me because these were like, you know, $100 shoes. And so like you have them for 4 or 5 months and it starts to peel away and you can't fix it. Then I just started getting classics, and the classics have the flat sole. It doesn't have a lot of arch support. My feet have adjusted to them pretty well. The interior of the shoe itself is good. This is another segue and just me going off on a tangent just based on how the shoe and the boots are designed. But when you think about it, it's got to be really, really important when you're a vigilante or you're fighting crime, because you want to have traction. I mean, Spider-Man can stick to walls and stuff, but I mean, Batgirl can't. She's got to be able to, you know, along with the grapnel gun, climb up the side of a wall, and that means the soles of her shoes have got to have traction. And then she's got to have the ability to stop like on a dime when it's raining and she's running full bore and stuff like that. So it's just like really cool things to think about when looking at details on an action figure. I gotta say, the Harley Quinn and the Batgirl might be my favorite figures in the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse set. Don't get me wrong, I love the Nightwing, because Nightwing's my guy. And by the way, happy 80th birthday, Dick Grayson. I've been reading your comics and your adventures for 20-something years now, and not going to stop anytime soon. Yeah, namesake, Grayson, he's in the Bubba Patrol too, and his code name is going to be Dogwing. So, like, double tribute there. But yeah, I would say that the Harley Quinn and the Nightwing are my two favorite figures in this set. So I would say if you're going to go out and you're going to purchase any of the figures, if you tend to like female figures, if you're interested in the set and you're not sure really where to start, but you want characters that are really well sculpted and you want a good amount of detail, you want a good amount of like posability and playability, decent accessories, I would say go with Batgirl and Harley Quinn. They are both pretty phenomenal sculpts. Let me grab Harley here really quick. I've got her posed with Nightwing currently. But yeah, I think they have a really good. The only thing I didn't like about the Harley Quinn is that the pixie boots, they have heels on them, and that doesn't make sense. I mean, you know, they didn't do that with Batgirl, so I don't understand why they did it with Harley. But I would say these two figures are definitely my favorites, and they stand above all the other ones that I've looked at so far, and that's the John Stewart Green Lantern, which I really like a lot. The animated Batman and the Nightwing. Nightwing comes in third. These two are, I would say they're tied for first, so Nightwing is a close second after these two. But I still have the Hellbat to take a look at. I did purchase a Batman Who Laughs. However, that is going to the Tucson Toy Show this weekend to see if I can sell it. If not, it will be part of a future video. So that might be one that goes directly to Patreon. So when you check the description below, I have my Patreon link there. You're going to get access to art content that you're not going to get anywhere else. You're going to get early access to both videos and content, art content. I'm going to try to keep it on Patreon for a couple of weeks before I post it on like Instagram or YouTube or anything like that. Every little bit that you drop in the box to support me on Patreon matters. Almost everything that I'm going to be putting on Patreon, you'll get access to at the $1 tier. Right now, I've got a $1 and a $5 tier. And I've got one patron so far, which I'm really thankful for. We've gotten a couple of new subscribers, which I'm also really thankful for. So let's just keep this going and, you know, let me know how you guys are doing. Kind of low on funds right now, so I can't really take requests on like new figures to do or do reactions and reviews to. But maybe if there's a comic book story out there that you'd like to see a reaction to, let me know. I've got a ton of graphic novels if you want to hear more stories about the Bubba Patrol and what's upcoming. I'm going to do progress notes on that. But at the same time, definitely be sure to back the Patreon because you'll get to see some exclusive content. After I get done right here, I'm actually going to upload or work on a piece to go on Patreon at the beginning of next week. And it's going to be something that you're not going to see until the book is printed. So it's only going to be available on Patreon until we have a print copy of the Bubba Patrol issue 3. So I'll see you guys later. Please take care of yourselves. If you're going to the Tucson Toy Show this weekend, I really hope to see you. I will have my retractable banner with the Bubba Patrol on it with all the dogs like in super vibrant colors and the big Bubba Patrol logo. So take a look for that. Come out, buy some books and, you know, get them personalized and buy some toys and stuff like that. We'll have a good time. I'll see you later. Take care and stay anti-hero strong.